Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as Foreign BX257, here to bring you another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review, and today I'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe's small playset battlefield accessory, the 1984 Missile Defense Unit. Now, this wasn't featured in any comic book or cartoon, and while this was available in retail in 1984 and re-released in 1985, in 1988, Hasbro made this available through their mail-away offers, but only as part of a six-pack, along with the Mortar Defense, Machinegun Defense, Ammo Dump Unit, Forward Observer, and the Cobra Rifle Range unit. However, during that mail-away, some foreign overstock snuck into that, and some of them are slightly differently colored than the regular retail versions. And I believe the Missile Defense Unit, which is primarily kind of a flat gray color, turned out to be kind of silvery gray in some versions. Like its 1984 wave mate, the Mortar Defense Unit, which I've already reviewed, you can arrange the pieces of the Missile Defense Unit in any which way you want. You can think of them as diorama pieces. The Missile Defense Unit comes with a pair of figure stands, and you have to remember that the small playsets and the Battle Gear accessory packs were the only places that you can get figure stands back in these days. They didn't actually come with figures until like 1991. The other thing it comes with is a crate. With an opening lid, which you can place the three included rockets into. And the rockets are able to be placed inside of the rocket launcher. Now, the rocket launcher is the most fragile piece of this set, and as you can see, this thing is supposed to go all the way down, but mine is kind of stuck. As a matter of fact, if you pull it apart like this, and I really don't recommend doing this, but this piece actually gets cracked off most often. You'll often find that people have actually glued the base part to the upper launcher tube. And there's nothing wrong with that, because as you can see, the actual connection is angled. So when this is fully down the way it's supposed to be, it can't rotate on the base. So it really doesn't matter whether it's glued to it or not. It should be flat and straight like this at all times. This is what it looks like when the two halves are properly squished together. The next thing, it comes with a signpost, a rather simple thing, but people really love these type of military signposts for diorama purposes, whether they're using the missile defense set or not. And finally, it comes with a two-piece wall. It just connects like that. And I had it oriented like this because that's the way the instructions show it. But most people actually put it over like this, which honestly seems a bit more natural. Now, while I don't have a mail-away version to show you the color difference, there was another variation of this set. All other pieces of the set were exactly the same, except for the wall. This is the early version of the wall, which has very smooth, very even brickwork. However, shortly afterwards, we got a wall like this, with somewhat uneven brickwork and these little pock marks. One isn't harder to find than the other, so one isn't more valuable than the other. And this one, with the pock marks and the rough brickwork, this is one that you will find as a mail-away most often, but it was also available as retail, just like the first version. Of course, as a mail-away, you'll find this version in this dark silvery color, the 4 in overstock, as I had stated before. But this is, as you can see, the plastic is the color of exactly the same one. So this would have been either an early mail-away or a retail, just like the first version. Now, unlike the Mortar Defense set, where you could buy multiples and just sort of combine them to make a slightly bigger sets, it's a little bit difficult with the Missile Defense Unit because, well, the walls look so similar. It looks like a sort of a repeating pattern, and it doesn't look really very natural. However, there are ways of getting around that by reorienting how you have multiple walls. And this is how this set scales with some figures from the same era. To paraphrase Bob Ross, just use your imagination when arranging this set for display, especially if you have more than one. It really becomes a challenge of creativity to place walls in such a way as to not look like a repeating pattern. However, collectors see this set as one of the worst of the small playsets. The unique wall is just one factor, but the easy to break and admittedly tiny launcher is another. It's a shame that this came out in 1984 when Hasbro was still against making firing missile toys. This would have been an excellent opportunity to try out a spring-loaded launcher or even a flick missile. On the plus side though, these sets are the easiest to find and complete on the aftermarket and should be relatively cheap versus the other small playsets. I would advise ignoring any glue repair work to the launcher, as the base and tube are not moving pieces anyway. While I already mentioned that the gray color to this set goes with Cobra Forces as much as it does with Joe's, the dilapidated state of the wall is also very bad guy-like. I also mentioned this in my 1986 Outpost Defender review, another small playset that had a rough lived-in look, but the style doesn't suit G.I. Joe in my opinion. This is also partly the origin of my constantly pairing up Firefly and Scrap Iron action figures. They look best manning this set, though I will admit I generally separate the Ammunition Depot signpost and leave that with my 1983 Headquarters Command Center. The gray is a great match to its silver gray, just like the 1985 Air Defense Accessory set. Well, that's all the time I have right now. Please check out my Facebook page for more information and behind-the-scenes photos for these reviews. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for next time to see another 1980s G.I. Joe toy review. See you then.